Hotkey Books presents Honest, written by Millie Evans and read by me, Millie Evans. Introduction. Let's start at the beginning. Sex is everywhere. It's pretty hard to miss the constant sex scenes on TV, the weirdly sexual perfume and yogurt ads in between, and the sex splashed all over our social media feeds. If being a young adult wasn't tough enough already, you're probably also having to find your way through a minefield of new revelations about your sex, love, and your body. And let's be real, the sex education you get at school doesn't always cut it. It can be really embarrassing talking to your teachers or parents about this stuff, and you probably feel like they're not always being totally honest with you. Here's a bit of honesty. Bodies are bizarre. They're smelly, hairy, sticky, and dangly, with all kinds of bits and bobs we don't quite understand. And, lucky us, bodies keep changing throughout our lives, so there are always more bits to figure out, hairs to randomly discover, and smells to wrinkle your nose at. The truth is, love and relationships are more complicated than they look in Disney movies. But there aren't as many evil villains or magical curses, which I guess is an upside. Sex can be absolutely awesome and exciting and fun and romantic, but you need to know a lot more than how to put a condom on a banana for it to go well. But who am I to be telling you all this? I'm Millie. I want to help you prepare for what's to come and answer the sex and relationships questions you might not want to ask anyone else. As a just about adult who's still figuring herself out, I know what you're going through. In the 2 short decades I've been on Earth, I've made some silly mistakes when it comes to love and sex, and I know I'm going to keep messing up. That's what growing up is all about. I'm still struggling with dating. Will anyone ever love me? Coming to terms with my sexuality. Am I a lesbian, gay, or queer? Or do I even want a label? And finding my feet when it comes to being a real adult. But even though I'm still making mistakes, I've had a better start than most when it comes to sex and relationships. An unconventional upbringing. My parents sell sex toys, so I've grown up with parents who spend all day talking about sex and everything that goes with it. Trust me, it's taught me a lot. I've been fortunate to grow up being able to talk to my mum and dad about anything, which is lucky because I've always had a lot of questions. I know that plenty of people are horrified by the idea of chatting to their parents about sex, but no one can deny that I had the best sex education at home. At school, I became the person that people would turn to when they had a question about their sexual health, identity, or relationships, because, thanks to my mum and dad, I actually had the answers to their questions. And that was important, since some of the advice I heard floating around the classroom was pretty dodgy because no one had any adults they could ask, and no one wanted those questions saved to their Google search history. I feel incredibly lucky to have been brought up in an open, sex-positive family, but I always thought it was unfair that most of my friends couldn't chat to their parents about things they were worried about. And because sex education at my school was, quite frankly, a bit rubbish, my friends couldn't get their questions answered in class either. When I turned 16, I decided that I wanted to change things. I started to campaign for a better, more inclusive and sex-positive sex education curriculum so that you can get the sex ed that you deserve. I soon found that there were hundreds of thousands of people around the world who have been fighting for better sex education for decades so that we can all get the knowledge, support and advice we need. I decided to get on board and add my voice to their campaigns, to do what I could to create change. In 2017, it finally happened. We won our campaign for sex education to be made compulsory in all schools in England. Then came the fight for a curriculum that would actually teach us what we needed to know. Because who knows better about what you need to know as a teenager than teenagers themselves? Though the new curriculum isn't perfect, it's a huge step forward. And I'm not giving up until everyone can get the sex ed they deserve. So consider me a big sister, super honest agony aunt, or your only slightly older best friend who'll tell you all the things you really need to know. Sex ed is about more than just sex.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?